Why don't we take a look at the Anvil Asgard behind the ships and see what CIG has to say about their new fabulous dropship and what and why we should be getting it. Here's to Anvil's newest offering.
The Anvil Asgard is the Valkyrie on steroids. It's
a good start. Sorry, Valkyrie owners.
Here to deliver larger vehicles than the Valkyrie is capable of, but without the troop deployment side of it. This is for the person with a Nova tank that doesn't have a big enough garage.
I would say it's a beast with tons of weapons. It's ready for action combat.
It's actually so indicative of how much Squadron 42 affects this game's development that this was not the first version that came out. Because we needed this kind of a vehicle way more than we needed a drop ship with, 14 drop seats in it. And they made that because they needed something to replace the Redeemer in Squadron 42 rather than this, which would have been what we needed for Star Citizen at the time to transport big vehicles.
I cannot imagine a ground vehicle that won't fit in the back of this ship, but I know where we work, so I think that's probably not a good idea to say. The big exterior changes are we've now got our missile rack on top of the ship.
It also looks more aggressive because all of its weapons now face forward. We've got 2 new wings.
Dude, that is a lot of forward-facing weapons for a dropship. I can't get over that. It's like a dogfighter dropship. It's such a interesting... Man, this really just feels like the... Hey, we hear you guys wanted a certain kind of ship.
On the top, they are now supporting engines instead of guns. We have new rear thrusters to help it propel itself. Now it's carrying a tank.
Why do we need a vehicle right now? Have you tried infiltrating a hostile outpost? It's just not even worth the time. It's easier to just drive in my opinion, or like a distribution center. I don't know. I think compared to are your players getting thrown off their feet because of force reactions versus can you carry a Cyclone in your vehicle? Well, okay, fine. A Nova tank in your vehicle. I would prefer to tank the Nova tank.
I think one thing to notice is the underwing of the thing. It looks structurally sound. We really tried to make that extra wing that's now carrying an engine look like it can carry an engine.
Huh? I mean, maybe it looks stronger than the Valkyrie, but this does not look like the kind of connection that can carry. This has got to be like at least 100 kilopascals of force, dude. Which, yeah, it could take that probably depending on whatever space alloy you're using, but I wouldn't say this gives me the most confidence out of all the ship connections we've seen in the game, or at least thruster connections, but okay.
I think one thing to notice is the underwing of the thing. It looks structurally sound. We really tried to make that extra wing that's now carrying an engine look like it can carry an engine.
It's certainly thicker.
We've also extended and
I think that's one of the weirdest parts of the ship, to be honest, is that thruster's placement, but it looks cool, so.
Thickened the rear ramp entrance so that the bigger Nova can actually fit.
If you're dropping into a battlefield for like a beach landing or something, you just like shoot everything at once, clear the area to let the tank or whatever come out the back.
Nice. The rare storm driver.
We also have a few cool paints. My personal preference is the copper paint.
From the outside.
Yeah, dude, the thrusters up there definitely help it look more interesting. I could say all the things about the wing and whether or not that thruster would work up there. Maybe it would. I don't know. I'm not a doctor once again, but it looks a lot better than the Valkyrie.
It's obviously impressive. You don't really like get the full scope of how big it is until you like enter through those front doors and you see the roof just super far above your head. The hangar interior, it's basically just like huge cavernous space. Like a very tall area. It's almost, I've heard it described as being church-like. The side walls repeat in a fashion that's similar to like a cathedral. And at the end of it is a window to habitation that draws your eye towards it.
So that's where you lose that top turret from the Valkyrie. You just have this nice, like, gigantic window to look down on the vehicle.
Cut the crew complement down from 4 to 2 because there's only a pilot and a turret gunner / engineer now. So we have a full bunk for the pilot and the gunner. We then have a little bathroom off to one side.
Really comfortable habitation, suit locker, decent weapon rack.
I really can't wait for everything to persist because filling up these weapon racks and stuff looks so cool. Imagine when we can put like our coolest armors into our ship suit locker and not worry that it's going to just yeet itself off into the expanse of Star Citizen's back end at any point, and be able to have people on board your ship and they walk past and they see the suit and they're like, oh, this is sick. Where'd you get this? And you can be like, well, back in my day in Pyro, we went down and got this armor. That's what I'm looking forward to, though. That's Star Citizen to the T.
And a chow line, I think is what we call it still. It also has a slightly bigger cargo grid than the Valkyrie. This one gets up to 180, but that's floor to ceiling in the back there, so it can be a little unwieldy if you do fill it up all the way.
Okay, yeah, and like let's all remember how the reception of the Zeus was, and keep in mind that floor to ceiling storage might not be the ideal storage.
But that's floor to ceiling in the back there, so it can be a little unwieldy if you do fill it up all the way. It's kind of in that weird spot where it's a military ship with an enormous cargo hold, so it kind of gets the best of both worlds.
Seriously, the best of both worlds. That's like almost all that matters in Star Citizen right now. They're like, yeah, it's a good combat ship. It can store basically any cargo or vehicle. Oh yeah, we didn't give it a mining laser, so it can't do everything.
You can get your tank on the battlefield with ease.
Providing as much fire as it wants to. You've then closed that ramp, lifted back off, and got the hell out.
It's an impressive ship, and I know I'm like ragging on and on about how it has all these capabilities, but there's bound to be shortcomings, and also it's focused entirely on, well, not entirely on combat stuff. You throw a couple of rocks in here, and it becomes more than that. Honestly, I wonder if we could see industrial vehicles on a larger scale. Reminds me of this concept image, the Aegis Vulcan concept. There are a few like this, but this one specific picture always gets me because it just, I don't know, it's a really nice picture. Sitting on the tarmac here, and you got like this fuel truck back here. Like, could they make fuel trucks like this that might fit in a Asgard? And then or mining trucks, you know? Now that they have separated ship minerals from ground minerals, they can make really large ground mineral deposits that would call for large ground mining vehicles, as opposed to if they had made them before, you could just be like, oh, well, we'll bring in a vehicle to mine the large deposit of the same minerals. I'd be interested in seeing where this ends up going, because now they have the ability to start making larger vehicles to fit ships like this. We had it before, but this feels like it's a lot more purpose-built. Either way, interesting ship. Not for me, but it sounds like it's going to be really, really, really useful for most things that this game requires. So I think this is going to be a much bigger just chunk of change for CIG than I thought it was going to be. This will be great money making for them. Good sales. I hope this Invictus works out for them in the way they wanted. I think they really messed up with the Flight Blades release, and I think that remains a bit of a tarnish on the game at the moment. I hope they could decide to go back on that, but overall, I think this Invictus has been an incredibly good offering from them. I have no doubt this is going to be their best funding event in history, but we'll see.